your #1 news team covering the North. The Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Ruth Nell Technical Institute is working diligently to reach as many young people around the country as possible. Like other educational institutes, Ruth Nell was impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, but the technical school is getting back on track. President Fred Delancey says they will be introducing a virtual platform, and they are now in the process of testing the system.
We have engaged a group of maybe young Bahamians with this virtual platform education thing. And this platform can reach, as I said before, the entire Bahamas, where youngsters and residents alike, residents generally, they can be exposed to technical education experiences. As you know, some technical classes could be held in the class online. Some could be online, others need to be held in person with practical applications. But nonetheless, persons all over the Bahamas can now be exposed to technical and career education training as well as the high school diploma. And that's going to take effect today.
Delancey says Ruth Nell will be expanding to Abaco next month, beginning with virtual learning. He says the interest among young people on that northern island is high.
We talked with them today, and they keep on asking Mr. D, when you coming? But we'll be there shortly, very, very shortly. As a matter of fact, Abaco, I'm coming there on Saturday. I have a list now of about 80 persons and who will be gathered in just simply one week and so forth. And they're interested in technical education especially.
Well, a celebration taking place in the West this week that is worthy for a queen. 8 Mile Rock's very own centenarian is celebrating her 100th birthday. The birthday girl is known for her sharp memory and her sense of fashion. And as Jay Philippe tells us, she is sharing a few tips that she hopes can help us to live a long, healthy life.
Right now, I am 100 years old. My birthday is the first day of February. I born in 1922. I can't forget that.
Dalcina Dale Russell Smith, affectionately known as Doris, celebrated her 100th birthday this week. She was born and raised in 8 Mile Rock and still resides in that community today. Her family members gathered at her home to celebrate the big milestone while showering her with love. Even at the age of 100, Doris is still able to reflect on her younger years in 8 Mile Rock.
I had a little shop called the Golden Goose. And everybody come there for coffee and lunch. I could have cooked good them days.
To live to the ripe age of 100 is considered a blessing, and the centenarian is offering some tips to her longevity.
I eat fish out the sea, eat seafood. Didn't like meat. I didn't like meat. The chicken come up later. I eat fish. I like fish.
Doris Smith says she never developed bad habits that could have possibly created health issues even as a teenager.
I never smoke, and I don't drink, and I never been in the hospital. I had 7 children. I had already in that room up there.
The 100-year-old gem says family has always been her biggest support. She says as far as she remembers, her family roots are strong in 8 Mile Rock.
We are nice people, the Russell, the Martin, and the Jones. We are the foundation of 8 Mile Rock.
Get this, the centenarian says she has never been admitted to the hospital in her entire life, and for this, she is grateful.
I thank and praise God. I never been in no traffic accident. I was the first woman had a driver's license, public service. I never tried to get in an accident. And I grew right here. I traveled plenty, but I grew up here. And then up right here now. And that's the story of me.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to matriarch Dalcina Russell Smith. We say stay forever young. I'm Jay Philippe, ZNS Network News.
Absolutely amazing. Great story, Jay. Well, now to our series on domestic violence. In part 2 of Fair No More, we will hear from a woman who is still grieving the loss of her sister who was brutally killed as a result of a domestic dispute. Tonight, she's calling for stiffer penalties for abusers.
Police say the victim was found with stab wounds to the neck, chest, and abdomen.
I fell asleep in this deep sleep to work. The phone rang, and I heard, I could hear Casa like crying, and then the person said,
I know it's all you got to just be strong. And it's a fight just to
they said, go to the hospital.
Siobhan Munning says she spent the early part of the day on May 24th, 2005 with her younger sister, who was separating from her husband at the time. Munning says her sister had dropped off her belongings at her house, but that call changed her life as she had no idea that it was her sister who was brutally murdered.
I rushed and I saw the ambulance, and I said, turn back around. I followed the ambulance. When I got there, they said, oh no, you don't come. I rushed out. They said, no, you don't come. But what I've seen, she was just laying down there, and it looked like she was like just sleep, and you could see like all her, she was bloody. Her hair was saturated in her own blood. It looked like it was just wet curls. And it looked like you were able to say like, Taffy, get up. She was at peace, even though she was stabbed 26 times. And I still feel up to this day that the system failed her.
Her sister, 30-year-old Tiffany LaRota, a woman with 4 children at the time, all under the age of 13, was murdered at the hands of her husband, and she believes that this tragedy could have been averted as the police had left the home earlier that day because he had cut up her clothes. Munnings alleges that her sister then went to the police station. They returned with her to her home, but here's what they didn't know.
But all this time he was sitting like a duck observing her place, and after the police left, he rushed there, kicked open the door. He said he met her looking through the window, and then he pulled out and she's like pull away, and then that's how the fight was agitated. And next thing I know, she was dead.
Were there any signs of abuse before this murder took place?
Yeah, they had their ups and their downs and make up and break up. They went through that because I went there several times.
Just follow the light in the darkness. You're gonna be okay.
Of course, now you eventually reached to a place of forgiveness, and so you would have met with him. What was that conversation like?
They allowed me to speak with him. I said, why did you do it? Why? I said, just tell me, why did you do it? I said, because you know you were able, you could have come to me. But he said, I don't know. You know, he said, I met her she was looking through the window. He told me everything. And he said, while he was stabbing her, he said their eyes locked. And she said, whatever I do to you to bring you to this, she said, I am sorry. She said, I forgive you.
You're gonna be okay.
I hugged him. I forgave him. I said, at the end of the day, forgiveness is not about him, it's for me. But they just gave him 12 years.
12 years.
After hearing all of the evidence, and these were his words. Maybe God saved him for a reason. You know, some good can come from him. Maybe he could say, John, don't do that. I've been there. The system gave me a little break by giving me 12 years, or maybe God had it that way that I get 12 years.
But here's what Siobhan hoped.
You know, you have to stiffen the penalty. You have to, if not. And women have to love themselves a little bit more. It still starts from us.
You're gonna be okay.
Now, if you know of anyone suffering from domestic abuse or any type of abuse, they should contact the crisis hotline in Grand Bahama. The number is 727-2471, in Abaco 471-8036, and in New Providence 322-2763 or 422-2763. Stay with us. We'll be back right after this.